Hi there. Welcome to Craft with Kathie. So this is going to be project number 2 using the same transfer, and this is actually a kit. It's called Let's Cuddle Kit, and it comes with pillowcases that look like notebook paper, which are really sharp, that I think I'll be doing tomorrow. And it's an ink project, so it comes with the appropriate colored inks. I am going to be doing another sign tonight, so I am sticking with paste. And I am going to be using 2 different parts of this transfer. And I'm going to be doing it on, I keep forgetting the name of this. It's a little too hard for my brain to remember. Rotating flip side. So it has our boutique finish, so it's erasable. So I'm going to decorate it for Valentine's Day. And then I can change it whenever I want. And because it's chalkboard, our boutique chalkboard, I don't have to wax it or anything. Yesterday's project was on wood, and you have to wax wood. I will have to admit, I dropped my laptop twice in the last week, and that might be part of the issue. I don't really know. But it just turned the speakers back on. There went my other thing of water. Okay, so I'm going to use this fuzzing cloth. This is the surface that we're going to be working on tonight. I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line and let me know where you're viewing from. I kind of spooked the dog just now, so I'm really on a roll. This is a little bit tight for the surface, but I'm going to get it to fit. And I'm going to be using Marvelous paste and cherry, which is a nice bright red. A little bit deeper than our candy apple. I just thought they would go well together. And I'm going to fuss this a little bit more than normal because I know I'm going to have to do a little fussy placement of it and probably have part of my bee hang off the edge. We'll see. Okay. The main thing is I definitely want it to be straight. Oops, I just got something on my transfer. Let me get that off. It's a little tight of an area, but I think I could get it all to fit properly. Okay, let me look at it to make sure it's not at an angle, and this looks good, and I want to make sure I don't have any air bubbles underneath it. I have a teeny bit of the S hanging off the edge, but I think that's fine. I'm not gonna worry about that. So let me get my cherry paste. Let me give my little Marvelous a stir up here. I had added a little distilled water to it because it had thickened. It had been a while since I used it, and it might be thickening a little bit too much, being that I left the cover off. So, ooh. Speaking of which, look at my cherries. Kind of dry too. That's weird. Me leaving the covers off, not really the best thing to do. Let me clean up this. Oops, I'm cleaning up the wrong thing. Oh, I want to clean up the stir stick. If you have paste that thickens up a little bit, the easiest way to rectify it or reconstitute it, if you will, is by using distilled water. And I have a little bottle of distilled water here on my table. I use it for cleaning also, which I don't need distilled water for cleaning, but it's handy instead of having two separate bottles, one distilled and one not. And the reason that you do distilled water is tap water might have chemicals in it. Your town or village might add whatever they need to keep bacteria down, probably fluoride added to it, whatever. So because there are things added to it, we don't want any of those chemicals interacting with the actual pigment in the paste, because that could cause a little bit of a color change. Oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. It seemed like it was really thick. So I think this is fine. Just whipping that up a little bit. Grab my squeegee here. And of course, now I've woken up the dog, who is looking for food because she hasn't had dinner. She was sick today, and she was snoozing, and I thought I'll just go with how she's feeling. So I cooked her up some rice and whatever. And of course now she's going to be impatient. I'm sorry, baby, you have to wait a little bit. She's a sweet little husky. Actually a beautiful little girl. And very, very sweet. I didn't get her until she was 7, and I don't really know much of her history, as the person that had her, that I got her from, had only had her for a month, and her living arrangements changed, and she basically had to get rid of her, let her go. So she's kind of a rescue, but a sweet little girl, and doesn't talk much. She did when she was younger. She talked a little bit more, as huskies sometimes do, or usually do. She does a little mixture of barking and talking, but in all is a real little sweetheart. And really doesn't understand what her mother's doing at the table without food. You just grab a little bit more paste. I know I just put too much on here, but we'll see. I want to be careful not to go off the edge. If I do, though, it's chalkboard, so it's real easy to clean up and rectify. Okay, so I'm just smoothing over everything, make sure I've got everything covered. There we go. And you know what? I'm going to have to come back and make my project number 2 a two-parter, because this little girl needs to go OUT. So I will be back in a flash, and I really apologize, but as she's been sick, what can I do? See you in a few minutes. So in the meantime, I think this is dry. It's a little bit darker in the center, so it's not quite completely dry yet, but I'm going to let that sit for a moment while I get my other transfer. And okay, I've got the sheared. Let me move this out of the way for a moment. I'm going to get the other transfer and fuzz it, and I'm probably going to cut it. I didn't finish cutting this out, so let me cut the rest of it. Of course, I'm stuck to the transfer. Okay, let me get this out of here. This is a D-size transfer, so it's like 18 inches by 18 inches, which is what around the pillows I think are 17 and a half or 17 and a half, something like that. And I am going to actually cut off the PS. There is no cut line here, but I'm just going to cut right through it. It's fine. When I do it on my pillow, I'll just put it back together. So let me put this on the backer in the meantime. But I want to be able to center the I love you, and I don't want to have to kind of guess with the PS on there whether it's centered or not. So that's what I'm going for. Let me finish getting this fuzzed. And yes, you can cut your transfers. You don't, even if there are no cut lines, you could cut however you want, whatever works for you, right? Isn't that the whole idea behind everything? Okay, so I'm going to do the opposite side. And I don't know if I should put some lips on here, if I should put some hearts. What do you think? Let me know what you would do. I've got a little fuzzy here, but being that it's underneath the teal, I'm not going to worry about it. Let me eyeball that, make sure it looks like it's pretty straight. It's a little bit more to the right, but maybe I'll add a little, maybe I will change it. I move it a little bit over to the left. And sometimes I have to actually lift it up and look to see, get a better perspective. Okay, that'll work. Smooth it down, make sure there's no air bubbles in between. And I'm going to do this side in Marvelous, which is a really kind of mauvey pink. I used to have a sweater this exact color. It was a cowl neck sweater, obviously a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it. It was warm, it was comfy, it was soft, and every time I use this paste, it reminds me of that sweater. Isn't that funny how things stick in your mind? So I'm just going over all the letters, all the silk screen, smoothing it out, removing the excess paste, removing any lines. I did put a lot of paste on here, didn't I? Oops. Get the top of my L there. And the bottom of my eye. I really scooped up a lot. Okay, and I know I need to clean that jar up. It looks terrible. So, I love you. Bunches. Isn't it absolutely sweet for Valentine's Day? So, do you think I need some hearts or a lip? Maybe some lips. And transfer has a lot of pieces to it. We've got a couple different hearts and we've got a couple lips. I think I'm going to go with these lips. Let me move this out of the way so that I could cut this. Usually I cut my transfer into all the pieces at one time, and this time I didn't. I'll have to put that back in place. I think I'm going to go with these lips. I'm a little off camera here, I'm sorry. A heart or no? What do you think? Too much? Too little? What would you do? Now, obviously, I want to be careful when I put this on the surface not to hit any place that the paste is not dried yet. And I'm going to do it in cherry red to kind of coordinate with the other side that says bunches. Trying to decide where I want it. Maybe right here. And I want to make sure that I don't bump that U. grab a clean squeegee and I'll do the little lips. I'm trying to hold this up out of the way. I could have just dried it, I suppose. Made it a little easier on myself, right? So same process as before. Smooth it over, remove the excess, any lines, and peel and reveal. I had a little flake of dried paste on it. So what do you think? I just need another hand here. I love you bunches. Quick, simple, easy. I apologize for the interruption. Oh, I've got a little paste here, a little flake. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Isn't this just perfect for Valentine's? And maybe I'll stick a little rose up here or something like that. I don't know. Maybe a red rose. I've got pink ones, but maybe I'll color something with the paste and make it red. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. See you soon.